Hi, everybody. Welcome to the report. My name's Lee Honish. Today, an excerpt from my coaching call. I know I do that a lot on this podcast, but I like to share the content that I have created for my own coaching students, and hopefully it's beneficial to all of you. Today, specifically, we're talking about the actual mechanical breakdown of working with pre-foreclosure properties. I know it's a topic that comes up a lot on this show because I'm a former head loss mitigator for IndyMac Bank, because I do marketing that is specifically to a niche of nearly 500,000 possible listings. That's right. You can look it up. 500,000 people have an NOD or greater in the United States, meaning they're 6 months delinquent or more. I cater to this niche, and I imagine people who listen to me consistently, read my stuff, you're on my website, you're interested in working specifically with that type of homeowner. What I think, based on the current market conditions, and I want to share this information with you, I think it's vital to understand. I think the market conditions are super tight, right? It's very difficult to get your hands on a listing. Inventory is dramatically low. Real estate agents are literally struggling to get any kind of lead that they want. This is a very real look inside the Monster Marketing Program, how it works, what marketing pieces we use within our own, which Monster Marketing pieces we use that have the best success. Literally a breakdown step by step. So if you've watched the webinars or you've seen other, or you've listened to me talk about it on previous episodes, this is literally what it's like inside my coaching group. Happened today. We talk literally in very specific, slow, minute breakdowns. We talked to Mary Ann Schmelz, who is one of my coaching students, and she maintains and averages about 15 listings per month, and she does no other marketing other than Monster Marketing. So we basically tear apart and break down on a very minute level how she does that. And I wanted to share it on my podcast with everybody, especially those that are having difficulty getting a listing. I want to share what I can share. I think my way is the best way. I'm actually the only person I know of that can physically guarantee a result. There's nothing else out there. People will tell you it's about your face-to-face or your door knocking or your cold calling or your mailing, and I'm sure that all has its place. I'm just telling you homeowners are holding on tighter to their homes than they have in previous markets. What we're talking about are people who've missed payments, right? Going to the front door and creating a relationship and giving them an alternative to foreclosure. That alternative to foreclosure is listing with you. So who you will hear on this call is me literally picking up during my coaching call with Mary Ann Schmelz, a real estate agent who works with her husband, who is the broker, Al Schmelz, out in the Arizona area. If you want more information about her, we give away that information at the end of the call. And at the very end of this, I'm going to do a drop for those of you that listen to this episode and go, yep, Lee, I've watched it. I've heard her. I can make this happen. I want to start getting appointments this week. I'm going to, at the very end of this podcast, give you a link so that you can get started with the Monster this week, and give you all the bonuses that we normally do from our webinar. So enjoy. This is Mary Ann Schmelz.
Are you a real estate agent, realtor, investor, or are you in the real estate business and you need new listings and deals? We have a solution for you, and that solution has guaranteed results. How much would you pay to get face-to-face with a homeowner that wants to sell their home? What if you also got their email address and daytime phone number? And what if this homeowner also scheduled you to come to their door at a set time to meet with you? Sound too good to be true? It isn't. And it is 100% guaranteed for you to meet face-to-face with a real homeowner who really needs to sell their home. Not only will you get this remarkable contact system and its 100% guarantee at no additional charge, you will get weekly coaching, documents, and training on how to get that homeowner and convert them into a new listing. When you purchase, you'll also get a one-on-one walkthrough so that you can start using the system today. Visit www.thelistingmonster.com. That's www.thelistingmonster.com. or call Diana Ortiz at 213-706-0040. Stop wasting time the old way. Use a Monster and get actual results today.
Welcome to the Honish Report, hosted by Lee Honish. The Honish Report is a look at the real estate market and creating effective marketing plans for realtors or investors to get new listings and deals. Your host, Lee Honish, has over 20 years of experience in real estate, banking, and marketing. Over the last 6 years, Lee has developed cutting-edge marketing and was named one of the most innovative marketers in America. With over 1 million views, Lee continues to be an advocate for the entire real estate community. Enjoy today's show.
Hi, Mary Ann. You're unmuted.
Oh my God.
You're live and you're being recorded. All right, let's start with the first question, Mary Ann.
Okay.
We all have our different version of what we say at the door. I am bombastic, and David is eloquent, and Kevin is probably more traditional, because I'm speaking on his behalf, of giving the alternatives to foreclosure, the very baseline training version. But the question comes up of, why are you doing this? Which is the turn and the pivot point in the discussion. When a homeowner asks you, why are you doing this? What do you tell them?
Okay, I was actually typing all of that, but I'll just go ahead and just...
Much easier this way, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. So thanks for suggesting that. What I say is that we're a unique group of licensed real estate professionals, and that we volunteer our time to help homeowners that are in foreclosure. There is no cost or obligation. We do this as a way of giving back to our community. It is very difficult to discern our group in contrast to many of the other people that are contacting you to either sell your home or buy it. We do everything we can to help you retain your home. However, if the options that are available to you don't work out, then we can discuss some other options with you to help you create the best outcome with what you're dealing with.
That's hugely eloquent. Both you and David have a very eloquent... do you guys want me to break that down for you, or did you guys catch everything that occurred in both of those conversations? Not only was there an insertion of, hey, I'm going to help you, so I've got the give to get happening from a marketing perspective, which is great. You've inserted that you are a real estate professional. So you've done a plan B pivot in there as well. I mean, that's got everything just about covered in it. So they take it all in. Are you going with the classic David format of setting up the immediate second appointment to bring them back more information?
Well, you know, I have the basic package that we put together, but, you know, that's kind of a loaded question because it just depends on what they tell you, right, where they're at. And a lot of times if they say they're just starting the loan mod process, they're just beginning to get their paperwork together, I tell them that if I can get their email, I'd be happy to send them a few little, you know, pointers of stuff to help them make sure that they get a complete package and what they should do as far as making sure to follow up. And so the follow-up is usually I send them, I think it's David's little flyer that says, what does it say? It says, well, I sent him the weekly lender questionnaire, okay, and tell them to duplicate that and fill that out every time they call their lender. And then I also give them the little flyer on how to negotiate your own loan mod. And then what I do at that point is I tell them, why don't I follow up with you in a week or 2 weeks and see how you're doing and where you're at that point. And they always say, yes, that's fine. So I make sure to get their email address, and I also confirm that the phone number that I have from the call center is the best number to reach them at.
And mechanically, you've actually, just so that we're following along, you've actually gained permission. You're double opting the permission on them, so they still feel like they're in control. It's perfect.
Yeah, it's not very pushy or threatening. It's just, and then the follow-ups are where you really, that's where the magic happens, and that's also where you start to build a real strong relationship with them.
Okay, that's a very good question. This came up yesterday, and I'm sure that I will ask the question that everybody on the call wants to know. You guys ready? What do I say to the person that says, yeah, I've got it taken care of. Thanks for the info. Is that a dead lead?
No.
How do you work that person down? Because I just saw it on Kevin's face last night, and I didn't even realize it was weighing that. He goes, I go and I do a great presentation, and they do the, yeah, I'll look at it. Thanks for coming by. I'm going to get the loan mod. Don't call us, we'll call you kind of attitude. And I said, have you followed up with any of these people? No. And I can understand the frustration of it now that I see it firsthand. From your perspective, that's not a dead lead, is it?
Absolutely not, because, these people don't know what they're doing, and they think just because they make their initial call and maybe they send some of their paperwork in, which is 9 times out of 10 is not going to be complete, guaranteed. So they think all they have to do is do that, and then they're going to sit back and wait. And the problem with that is the days keep eating up closer to that foreclosure date. And if they get within 30 days of that foreclosure date and they haven't gotten their file into review at that point, they're in trouble. Their options are limited. So when they say that to me, I very politely just look at them and say, I've been doing this advocacy work for probably 3 or 4 years now, and I've often had people, think that they've got the thing handled. But let me ask you just a few questions to make sure that you and I are both on the same page.
Okay.
And then what I ask them, I say, okay, have you sent your paperwork in? They say yes. I say, have you followed up? Is there anything else that your lender needs from you? 9 times out of 10, they're going to say no. And then I ask them, when's the last time you talked to your lender? And they might say, oh, I talked to him 3 weeks ago. And I always tell them, I said, this is what happens with people, is that they fall into a crack. And unfortunately, from the lender's perspective, you're one of many, many people that they're doing loan mods for. They don't babysit you. If the file is not complete, they don't call you back. If it gets closer to foreclosure and goes to foreclosure, it's no consequence to them. I said, if you want to make sure that this is handled correctly, you've got to micromanage it yourself. And what I mean by that is every time you send something in, you follow up, you make sure it's been received, and then you use that questionnaire and you ask the same questions over and over again every time you talk to them.
How aggressive is your follow-up campaign after the initial meeting?
I wouldn't call it aggressive, but I stay in touch with them, especially I watch the foreclosure date, of course, and it escalates the closer it gets within 30 days of the foreclosure. But initially, if we're like 90 days out, I might call them in a week or maybe 2 weeks. It just depends. But it kind of escalates because your goal is they really need to get a file open 45 days before the foreclosure to be really safe. And I tell them that up front, and I say if they are not telling you that you're in review, and I have to be careful about saying review because a lot of times a file goes into what's called review, but what they're doing is they're just checking the file to make sure it's complete. Okay, then the next step is that it goes into underwriting. So those are just some little catchy things that happen that, you ask them, is your file in review? And they'll go, oh yeah, it is. The last time I talked to them, it's in review. Okay, well, is it in underwriting at this point? That's the most important question to ask.
Your experience, how long is it usually from, do you categorize your leads at the front door between good and questionable, or are they all active until either the sale occurs, they clear out the sale date, or they list? I mean, how are you keeping any kind of, how do I say this, any kind of crazy David metrics to your leads?
Again, it depends on what they tell you at the door, but